Our goals can only be reached through a vehicle of a plan, in which we must fervently believe, and upon which we must vigorously act. There is no other route to success.
Faster than a speeding bullet.
I ran until my muscles burned and my veins pumped battery acid.
More powerful than a locomotive.
An idea is like a virus, resilient, highly contagious.
Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound.
All right, welcome to the Better Humanology Podcast. My name is Jared Moon, and with me, as always, is Talon Schwan. What's up, Talon?
Hey, Jared, how's it going?
It's going well, man. How you doing?
I'm doing really, really well, actually. It was a very nice 3-day long Veterans Day weekend.
Oh, yeah, you got a little extra time there.
I did, yeah. I mean, yeah, with the wifey, you know. Anyway, I kind of wanted to wish everybody a happy belated, Veterans Day to all, like, the families of vets out there, and, as well as active duty people and men and women around the world. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I want to echo that as well. Veterans Day, one of my favorites. That was my entrance to active duty date is the same day.
Really?
Yeah, it's on Veterans Day. Pretty cool.
It's a good celebration for you then.
Yeah. All right, man. So we'll hop into some stuff, or maybe we should. Well,
I've been wanting to ask you about something for a little while. Do you mind?
What are you gonna ask me?
I haven't heard about how your Murphs have been doing in a long time. I feel like
I have. I think I brain farted like 2 episodes or something like that. I haven't mentioned it. I think because I've been mentioning it everywhere else recently. So I just finished Murph number 38. So I put it out on my Instagram. I blasted it out on the newsletter, inviting people to come do Murph at my house. Like, I mentioned that at my, I mentioned that on the podcast, and I was like, let's just do it and see who can come, who lives in the local area.
Right.
And I think we had about 15 people sign up.
Oh, wow.
And then come game day, about 5 people were able to show up.
It's always like that, right? There's something.
Yeah, I mean,
it's hard to get better. Murphs, oh my gosh.
Murph sounds like a good idea until it's your Saturday and you're like, eh. No, so I fully understand that. But no, it was a fantastic time. I was pumped with everybody who came out. Like a really great group of dudes, and we all pushed each other to go pretty hard. So it was really fun, and definitely the most memorable Murph I've done yet. Maybe the most memorable one I'll do. So it was super cool. And then after Murph, we hung out and grilled out, had a little cookout.
Oh, cool. I wish I could have been there.
Yeah, you should have come.
Yeah, I would have definitely probably made those guys that did show up probably feel a little bit better about their times, that's for sure.
Well, there's one guy, he PR'd his Murph by 9 minutes.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
Yeah,
he was motivated by the team around him, I think.
Well, yeah, because me and another guy finished first, and then we went back and ran with the other guys out, on their last miles,
right,
to push them, and I think it worked. It was fantastic. I wasn't the one pushing him though. That was VD. His name's Joseph. He helped him out, and it was awesome.
Cool.
All right, man, so that's Murph. It's still going on. Just
you haven't stopped doing.
I didn't stop.
You're still killing yourself.
Yeah, I wasn't like just trying to go under the radar there and be like, well, I kind of quit and I don't want to mention it anymore. That's not what was happening at all.
Right.
Definitely still doing Murph, and we'll finish out all 52. We're getting closer, and actually 40 is coming up, so that means we're getting close to a listener-voted Murph where you guys get to decide how I destroy myself. So that's coming up. All right. Thank you for making me give an update on that. I can't believe I have forgotten recently. But the two main things go over real fast. The barbell giveaway is still going on, and it's going on until I think I said December 5th or 12th. I'll go back. I have it written down, but we have until December. We're running it for a full month. So you still have time to get in on the barbell giveaway. It's pretty simple steps here. And to everyone who has done so already, I want to say thank you. all you have to do is go to iTunes and submit 5-star review and a positive comment about the show, and you'll be good to go. And I'll said it the first time, I'll say it again. I'm not trying to buy anyone's review here.
Right. Yeah.
I am simply trying to motivate the people who would have already left a review. If you have no intention, you're like, I would not rate this as a good podcast, then just don't worry about it. I will do more barbell giveaways at Into 3 Fitness later on. You can enter one of those. This is a different one for the listeners of the podcast. So yeah, that's all you have to do. 5-star review, positive comment, and we're good to go. And also, go to betterhumanknowledge.com. Sign up for the first 3 days of the mental toughness challenge, the 21-day Better Human Challenge. You get the first 3 days and check out what that's like, what it's all about, and get it done.
The mental toughness challenge is super badass, guys. So you guys really got to give it a shot.
I echo that. All right, man, let's go into your challenge for this week.
Okay, well, before that, I kind of want to ask you what you thought about the last week's challenge of mine.
So I actually took several walks last week.
Okay.
And part of it was because
on your own, right?
Yeah. Part of it was because of your challenge, and part of it was just because I wanted to do some walking and just clear my head type walking. You know, I always like to get out if I need to think, or if I'm doing something creative or whatever, I need to get outside and think. Right. So, you know, I think being alone and walking in where I live is a great place to kind of practice what you wanted us to do. And that was kind of taking notice. To me, I can put myself in a very a great state of gratitude, really, when I get to walk around and just think about things when I'm left alone with my thoughts in that situation. And that's kind of how that went down. Wow,
that's awesome, man. I didn't even think about the benefits like that, but obviously those are residual. But man, that's cool. It sounds really healthy. It sounds like a really healthy thing that, you know, gratitude kicks in when you're on your own.
I've been trying to focus on it more and more in my my day-to-day life. So
awesome. Well, go ahead. Sorry.
I just, since we were recapping last week, I was going to ask you if you did your close-eye squats.
I did, man. Okay. I did. You know, I like squats. Something I've done a long time. But for me, you know, I didn't feel any unbalance or anything. Maybe I should have done more. I probably should have done a more amount of time. Maybe I did them too fast. But there were some other things going on around me. So I want to ask you, maybe you can tell me if some of these things might have maybe made it too easy for me. So often when I do squats, when I come down, I bring my hands together. So that kind of helped me, I feel like, just remember where I'm at, because my whole body's kind of moving at the motion at the same time. So my arms come in too. So I kind of feel like them finding each other maybe helped me stay balanced a little bit better. And also I had noise around me that kind of helped me, I think, probably stay balanced much easier. Like I had a constant noise, like the baby monitor was right next to me. It was probably like a 1.5 feet from my face when I was doing this the entire time. So it was loud, constant noise, and I could kind of base off, I feel like, how low or high, or, you know, how good I was doing. And
you're like a bat doing sonar.
No, I wouldn't say that at all. I don't know. I mean, I haven't looked into that stuff.
No, that's true. That will help you ground yourself, but I wouldn't call it cheating or anything like that. It's okay. I would try it in silence to see if there is any effect, but really putting your hands together, that's no big deal. It's the only thing that you couldn't do is brush up against something, or, you know, the only thing that was grounding you to the ground were your feet, and that's the main point of it. So sounds like you have some pretty good balance, proprioception going on.
I played a lot of sports, so maybe that helps. But I think I definitely should try it and try to challenge myself to be able to do longer periods of time. Yeah, silence is a good idea.
Well, the next step up was the single leg squats, so maybe you should.
Right. Yeah, that's where I should go probably.
Hit it up, man.
Cool. Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and hit my challenge first, then, and it should come as a little bit surprise. But I want you guys this week to go on another walk. I want you guys to go on another walk like you did last week, and try to dig a little deeper. Try to just look a little deeper, think a little deeper about your observations that you're making. And again, when you finish write some of them down because that kind of solidifies it in your head. And then, you know, we'll take it from there later on. Don't worry. Just keep trying to make those observations as best you can.
I like making observations, and I like walking.
Yeah,
So,
right. Walking is always calming anyway, right? I mean, nobody's like, oh, damn, I gotta go on another walk.
Yeah, you get mad. They're like, take a walk.
Right.
I've been told that so many times in my life. No,
Angry fellow.
yeah. All right, man. My challenges for this week, I'll go through them pretty fast because we do have a lot of stuff to talk about tonight.
Okay.
Fitness challenge. I'm gonna have everyone do a burpee test. It's kind of a capacity thing. So we've talked about Tabata before, and Tabata is 20 seconds of work followed by 10 seconds of rest. But we're going to do 40 seconds of work followed by 20 seconds of rest. So you're going to do 40 seconds of burpees followed by 20 seconds of rest, and you're going to do it 4 times. So this is 4 total minutes of exercise. So as many burpees as humanly possible in 40 seconds, rest 20. And what we're looking at here over the course of each round is we're trying to see the comparison, how consistent you can be. Don't try to be consistent, but it's only 4 minutes of exercise, and so maybe you hit 15 burpees on minute 1. Are you getting 3 burpees on minute 4, or are you able to pretty much maintain the same pace all 4 minutes? It's a good indicator of fitness, how consistent you can be. So give that a try. It should be pretty tough, but it's also not too brutal. It's only 4 minutes.
I have to admit, like, burpees are my absolute, like, most hated exercise.
I think the world agrees with you. All right, mental toughness challenge. So this one's pretty interesting. It's kind of a little different than what I normally recommend, but I want people to secretly do something kind for someone else. And it has to remain a secret for the rest of your life. You're going to go do something. I don't care if you're doing something nice for your spouse, a coworker. It doesn't matter who it is. Maybe you help them out in some way, shape, or form, and they did this nice thing, and they probably realize it, and they're like, oh, well, that's cool, but you never take credit for it. You never let them know it was you, and I'm talking about forever. And that's kind of the mental toughness struggle there, is we always seek some sort of affirmation or like acknowledgement that we did something for someone else.
Right.
And so in the act of doing something for someone else, you're being selfish because you're expecting something out of it.
Right.
Even if you're giving someone like $1,000 on the spot and they're so thankful, you're like, I really like that gratitude they're giving me. So practicing doing stuff for other people with absolutely nothing in return and knowing that you're going to keep this a secret for the rest of your life, you might find it more challenging than you realize, or maybe it'll be easy for you. I think it kind of depends on where you sit in this. So that's the mental toughness challenge for this week. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, really interesting. I know it reminds me of like people who do help out with charities or things like that, or donate. And a lot of times they'll say, I really do it because of the way it makes me feel, not necessarily because of how much it helps somebody else. And I always thought that was an interesting thing because it's hard for me to kind of understand that, but it definitely is. Like I definitely want to be told, thank you. Everybody does, right? So I think that's a great challenge, man. I do have one question though. Mm-hmm. So like, especially if I do it like for my wife, like say I don't know, I was going to do something random. She's pretty keen. She's probably going to notice. And our little baby is not big enough to go help out with anything. So she's probably going to ask me like, hey, did you do such and such? And so in that situation, what should I do?
You should just you would obviously acknowledge the fact, wouldn't lie to her, acknowledge the fact that you did that. And then so you're just going to be doing a bunch of nice things for your wife all week, trying to find the thing that she didn't notice that you did. Because
on a whole new
like maybe she's like super organized and one night she forgets to do something and you just kind of, maybe it's something small, but like you get it ready for her and she didn't notice when she ran out the door the next day and you did that, but she didn't know. She thought maybe that she had just done it, but you know that you did it, and so it's just like, okay, boom, helped her, and like moving on.
That makes it even more fun to try and find something that she won't notice too. Okay, got it.
It'll be interesting.
Excited.
All right, book recommendation for this week. It's definitely a business book. The book is called 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel, and I think that you would really like it. I think it's Thiel. Is it Thiel? Thiel.
Okay.
and it's a very interesting concept. I actually read this book a while back, but I wanted to recommend it because I'll probably start kicking a few business books in here from time to time because I read a lot of those, and it's just a fascinating book because he kind of points out almost a problem in the world that everything is getting marginally better, and it's not necessarily like these great leaps. There aren't a lot of entrepreneurs out there necessarily taking these great leaps in the world and making these big changes. And just to point, like the iPhone was like so revolutionary, like when it came on, right? And now everyone is just making some new feature that they try to one up each other. It's like, oh, mine's waterproof now. It's like, oh, well, mine can do like 3D, and it's all this small stuff. No one's trying to invent like the next big breakthrough. So the whole book is kind of a mind shift. It's like a mindset shift, and I really like it for that reason.
Kind of just think bigger, kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. It's like everyone in the world should become Elon Musk type.
Yeah. Wow. Man, I think we would already probably have colonized the solar system.
I know, it'd be crazy, right? All right, so that does it for all the challenges this week. Everybody get after it, and we will roll right into questions. We have a lot of questions this week, and I think we'll be doing periodic question shows because we do kind of have a bank of questions that we want to get to, and we can only answer a few per podcast episode. So one thing I noticed, if there are any listeners out there, some people might love the question show, some people might hate it, but I mean, we can see the stats of the podcast on the back end, and people love the question show, the questions show. So they seem to be a little more popular. So we're definitely going to bring them, and as always, we're welcome to any feedback anybody has on their preference of episodes. But right now, the numbers have it with with going with questions. So I'll kick it off with a training question.
Okay.
So it's about military training. This guy said, I am currently an infantry officer in the Army, and my goal is to return to Ranger School and pass this second attempt. I passed the RPFT, but failed the 12-mile ruck march by 4 minutes. Any advice on training and how to pass next time? So, yeah. Well, I'll get into maybe the technical training details, and if you have anything off the bat, Talon, I'll let you go.
Training stuff, definitely, that's your forte. But for me, I think something that's so lengthy, like a 12-mile ruck. I mean, I think obviously it's an endurance event, but I think a lot of mental toughness is involved in something like that. And so I think a lot of our episodes that we've had kind of recently, where we talked about mental toughness kind of a little bit more deeply, are really going to help this guy. And yeah, I think was it just 2 episodes ago we were talking about getting through something tough and challenging, maybe when you're on your own. And I don't know if he's with a team when he's going through these rucks or not, but like I said before, for me, when I go through these kind of tough things, and it's about mental toughness for me and trying to overcome an endurance challenge. It's really about being able to put yourself in a different kind of mindset where you're pushing yourself, and that starts honestly when I told listeners a couple weeks back, where it starts by looking yourself in the mirror and deciding to make that decision that you're gonna push yourself. But when it comes to like getting your body prepared, that's all you, my man. So I'll let you take that one.
No, I agree with that. We kind of talked about obstacle course racing and endurance events, and the last time we did questions, and I think all of that stuff would be great. But to be honest, how I would train someone who wanted to train for a military event, or someone who is like more serious in the obstacle course racing, is relatively similar.
Okay.
The only difference is for an obstacle course racer, if you're pretty serious, we could set up your training to where you would peak for your event. So make it to where you're training like you taper off and you're just ready for the event. Your central nervous system, everything's ready for the event to really go hard. The military doesn't really have that luxury. You need to be ready. Like there should be no peaking in your training, no peaks. You need to be ready to go at all times. You could technically peak for training for this, this school, Ranger School, but I still wouldn't recommend it because it's not going to set you up for real life once you are a Ranger. Right. So being ready for the unknown and unknowable. That means you have to have pretty much 70% of, you have to be good 70% of the way on everything. So that means strength, endurance, power endurance, and all of that stuff. So you really have to work on a lot of, strength. Don't forget the barbell movements. You need to be doing the endurance, and then you also need to be doing like higher repetition stuff you could do with a barbell, with kettlebell, just to get some of that muscular endurance that aerobic endurance is not going to provide you. And then a lot of things, especially with ruck marches, and I'll focus on that just for 1 second because that's what he mentioned specifically.
Right. Yeah.
Train a lot of single leg movement stuff. A lot of single leg movement exercises, even if it is just doing like pistols, like we talked about, because that it's going to help a ton. And we also talked about in obstacle course racing, doing loaded carries and like farmers carries and weighted carries, stuff on your back. That's going to help a ton. That's basically what ruck march is. And then also really, really hitting your core strength. Like if I was working with you specifically, I'd ask why you failed the ruck march. I know that you failed it because of the time domain, but I would be like, okay, was your lower back hurting? Was that slowing you down? Did you just not have the lungs to finish it? Like, and we could get real specific, but these are my generic how I would train for it. And then the last thing I would say is try to train with as much, because you're obviously going to do ruck marches to train for this. Try to train with as much elevation gain as possible with a ruck on. So if you know of like some hills or mountain or whatever, just do it with a ruck. And that's my last little bit there.
Can I have one little final thing real quick?
Yep.
So I want to remind this guy. I mean, first of all, thanks, for your service and all that. But and it's such a badass to be an Army Ranger. But I think it's important that he practices his positive self-talk. And I know probably reiterating a little bit from the last couple of weeks. But pain is temporary, my man. When you complete that training, that will last forever, dude. You'll be an Army Ranger. So remember that. So if it is some pain that you're having in your body, remember that you can overcome that. But if it's physical, obviously, then there's work to be done.
Yep. All right. Next question. Hey guys, love the show. Keep up the great work. My question is about leadership. Both of you are officers in the military. I run my own business and have a small team of employees. Where I struggle is building camaraderie. I read a bunch of books on leadership, but none of them have talked about how to build camaraderie amongst a team. Do you guys have any suggestions?
Wow. Me first, you first. What do you want to do here?
You can go. My answer's pretty simple, but I'll let you
Okay.
go.
Okay. Two things I have. The number one thing, and hopefully this guy's doing it already, is you got to care about the people, under your wing. You got to care about their lives and their dreams and their goals, and then care about them their relationships with you and one another. And just that simple fact alone will go a long way. The other point to this is you have to be one of the team members as well. You can't just be the lording over the team person and expect that the whole team's gonna come together underneath you. I mean, there are examples where the leader is the bad guy. He makes the team all coalesce underneath him because they almost are working against him. That happens in training situations at times, and I've experienced that before and I've seen it work. But I think that's not lasting. I think that's something probably to accomplish maybe one big goal or one small challenge or one step. It's not something that will propel a group to continue this kind of camaraderie for a long period of time, a sustained period of time. So if you get in there and you are one of them, you can be a leader and still be one of the team. You can still be one of the guys or one of the guys and gals or whatever it is. And that's being on the ground level with them. That's going out and making sure you know their lives and having events that aren't necessarily just about getting work done. A lot of times you can do events that are going to be more about building those relationships. And when you do things like that, people are going to naturally be drawn more to each other and like each other better. So that's my take on it.
Mine is physical fitness.
There you go. Big surprise, huh?
And this comes from me implementing this in different shops in the military. I've seen it outside the military. I think one of the best and easiest ways to build camaraderie is to train together. And not all the time. I mean, it could be once a week, 3 times a week, 5 times a week, or it could be one event that you guys go do together. Maybe you guys get together and go do a go ruck or a Spartan race or something, once a quarter or once a year, every 6 months, something like that. But I do think that regular physical training together, and in the military, it's obviously a lot more common in the military to work out. I mean, it's
Right.
part of the job. But like I said, I've seen this in the civilian world, and I think as a leader, and maybe this is an opinion bias because I am into the fitness world so much, but I think you get to learn who the members of your team. This is kind of like another advantage for you is when you get to see someone put in just a mild physical distress and how they react to that. It speaks a lot about an individual and
Good point.
their mental capacity, and it's just something that you want to keep in mind. And so I recommend doing that. And it has to be. I wouldn't make them competition based necessarily. You could, but I would start with just like grinding it out with each other, like doing some push-ups, doing some simple stuff, and suffering a little bit together, and just go from there. That's where I would start, and just go from there. You good?
I'm good. I love
Okay.
that, man. I think that's exactly. I think that's a really good point. I think anytime people go through kind of the shit together, they always kind of come together a little closer.
Yeah. All right, man. Next. What is the best way to achieve balance between work, family, working out, and many other activities I'd like to balance? I often don't find time to get it all done. Any advice or tips for achieving balance?
You go this one first on this one, bud.
Okay. So to be honest, I don't know if I'm the best person to ask about balance. Well, maybe. It depends on how you look at it.
How do you look at it?
Well, the things that he's talking about are balancing the kind of the core things in your life. I understand that. But you have to there has to be another look at your life and seeing what you are doing, what you aren't doing, what you really are balancing, what you aren't balancing. And so I think, to me, balancing is being able to maintain some sort of fitness level while, and this is 100% my balance, while being a good father to my children, being a good husband to my wife, still working on myself, trying to get better through reading and physical training and being a friend. But that means that I have to be extremely focused because I know that time is limited. And so I don't think that I have a very well-balanced life beyond the 3 or 4 things that I want to be good at, which are basically all I mentioned. Like running the business, fitness, and my family, and not in that order, but just like those are the things that I'm gonna balance. And so that involves me cutting a lot of things out. Like, I don't do a ton of things that other people might enjoy. Don't really hang out with friends that much. Don't go out and drink beer. Don't watch TV. Don't know anything about sports. Like, I don't do a lot of those other things. So am I really well balanced maybe in the things that I want to be good at? Sure. Is there a shit ton of stuff I don't do? If that is balance, then maybe I am good at balance. But if that seems like I'm an isolationist to only being good at the things that I want to be good at, that's my definition of balance.
I think you started out. I think that was kind of a disclaimer. It was perfect because it really helped me kind of solidify. I think what I think about trying to find balance too. And you said you can't. You have to kind of take a step back, and look at how you want to balance your life. I think something like that. And so I agree. I think if you're not taking a step back to assess, your ability to balance your life and how much things are being balanced in what direction, then you're caught up in life, and life is, controls you instead of the reverse. And so for me, I think I probably have a little bit more of a balance between some of those things that you mentioned that you don't partake in. When I talk about the show, I think it's really important for people to have solitude or me time. I think it's important for people to have social time as well. I think it's important for people to have hobbies and things like that. And that's how I feel like I need to do for me as well. So for me, it comes down to kind of taking that step back and then prioritizing where my time is the most valuable. And I think as long as I'm valuing, some of those things that, and it's valuable to me, right? So not like, if I'm going to take some me time, and this is going to be an instance where I'm taking me time not necessarily to reflect or, to do meditation or anything like that. This is more me time to probably release stress, or maybe like read a book or play a game or watch a movie or whatever. As long as I prioritize it, well, that's fine. I don't need to base it off of like a world's best, what's going to make you the most productive priority. So I think if you kind of look at your day, step back and look at your day or your week or whatever it is, that where your time is going, and prioritize, okay, this is where I'm the most effective. This is where I gain the most enjoyment. This is where I'm the most productive. This is where I'm helping, my family, or this is where I'm happiest. Whatever it is, kind of make that into like a priority list, and then keep that. Keep that either with you or keep that in your head, and then that's how you kind of build out your. I'm not saying like minute by minute schedule, because that's not somebody that I am. But if you kind of keep those prioritization thoughts in your head, I think you'll automatically kind of be drawn to the things that you should be doing more so than the things you shouldn't.
One of the things you want, yeah.
Yeah, we want to be doing too. Yeah.
Here's my problem with balance. If you're trying to balance too many different things, I think that's how you end up with a perfectly mediocre life. And that is my maybe my biggest fear. And so, like I said, going back to me, again, not trying to project anything to anyone else, but that's my problem with trying to balance too many things is if you just kind of balance your finances, you kind of have finances like everyone else. If you just kind of balance your fitness, you're just kind of fit like everyone else. Like if it's just if you're trying to balance 15 different things, then you're not really good at anything. And I think that's my problem with balance. That's why I'm saying I don't think that I'm a very good example of balance. I try to just be as good as I can at a few things. And
no, I think you also kind of just explained how you're so efficient. Because you kind of already done the basically what I talked about in my whole answer for the question. Maybe, probably without even doing any of the process, and you've decided to go ahead and cut those bottom. You said 15 things, so you use probably like 5 or 6, and you go ahead and cut those bottom 9 things off the list entirely.
Yeah, I mean, and then like getting into some of the things I said, if you've got the money, start having other people balance things for you, and like I mentioned, finances. If you could hire someone to do that for you, let them do that. Take your brain out of it, and you be good at what you need to be good at. That's something I recommend. That's
a good point.
All right, man. Next question. I love how you guys don't just talk about the function. Let me start over. Love how you guys don't just talk about how to function better, but how to be a better person as well. This is something I'm focusing on as I reclaim my life back. Are there any kind of daily exercises I can do to stay on the path?
Oh, man. This makes me so happy to hear questions like this, because I feel like this is like part of the reason I love doing the show so much. Is I love making people like more healthy and all that kind of stuff. But if we can make the world a better place, then my God. So for this guy specifically, if you don't mind, I'm gonna throw out a couple of things real quick, because I love hearing about this stuff. But maybe in a counseling situation, these are the kind of things that I would go to. And we've talked about, we actually in season 1, we did a whole show on the gratitude journal. I think that would be a really great thing for you, listener, who asked the question, because I think just feeling more gratified and you are going to, and appreciative of life and of people and what you have, even if it's not very much, no matter how much you have or how little you have, that will ooze out of you into every social interaction you have. and it will also kind of it'll reshape really how you look at the world into a more positive way. One last thing I'll just say, to try to remember to love people or appreciate people for what they can't control. That automatically, I feel like, kind of helps us realign with, okay, look, you know, this is the kind of person I want to be. I want to be a better person. And if you're automatically, because if somebody can't control it, and oftentimes this is, you know, society will attack people for things they can't control. You know, somebody's height or weight, or well, weight you can control. Somebody's height, or, you know, attitude, or well, attitude you can control too. Wow, that's two bad examples. You know,
Skin
height,
color.
the way they look, skin color, yeah, ethnicity. I mean, all these type of things. You know, maybe intelligence level, honestly, or if they have disabilities or whatever it is. Yeah, those are some better examples. But if you love people for what they can't control, you automatically look at people in a little bit brighter light. I don't know. What do you think? What do you got, man? Any kind of just daily tips? I know it's kind of tough. We throw out challenges every week. It's not always for to be a better person, though.
No,
I think
I like practical.
Yeah.
So I've been using you mentioned gratitude journal and stuff. So I've been using what's called the best self journal. So this is super practical. It doesn't make you a better human being. Oh yeah, I'll go ahead and say it does. So this, I'll explain what it is real fast, and you know, totally plugging their product. I don't actually even know it's like bestselfco.com or something. I'm sure you could Google it. It's the Best Self Journal, and I only recommend it because I've already used their 13-week journals. I've already used one from start to finish, 13 weeks, and I'm on my second one now.
Oh wow!
And that's pretty rare. I don't normally I'll either find some sort of issue, I wasn't really digging it, didn't fit all my needs, and so I don't really like it. But that was not the case. They kind of nailed.
So you were doing it every day for 13 weeks?
Well, more than that now. I'm on my second one.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a great journal, and basically you kind of set your goals at the beginning of the journal for that 13-week time period. And it kind of has you write down, basically, they don't say it, but it's basically having you write down your intrinsic motivators for achieving that goal, your progress goals, your actions, your tasks, all this stuff. But when you go down to the daily breakdown, it has you do, this morning I'm grateful for, and then it has 3 different things. And then it has you write down your goal, talk about your goal again for this 13 weeks. What is your goal? And then it has your targets. What are 3 things that you're going to achieve today that are going to move you closer to that goal? And then at the end of the day, you kind of do lessons learned or opportunities for improvement, how that day could have been a little bit better, maybe where you screwed up. And then you get into wins, kind of like what did you do well, what was awesome about today, what were some of the wins of the day. And then in the evening, you go over gratitude again. Tonight I'm grateful for, and you list 3 different things.
What's this called again?
You're liking it, right?
Yeah.
It's called the Best Self Journal, and I don't normally recommend products because sometimes I have a tendency to get excited about something new, and then it's I could be like, Talon, this is the best thing in the world, man. You got to get one, and I've only been using it for 5 days, and then you get one, and then we both don't use it or whatever. But since I've used one fully, and I'm using this one, and I'll continue to use it probably until I either find something better or make something myself. I love this thing, and this is super practical because he's talking about daily exercises he can do to stay on the path, and I think if you set the right goals and you're going over this gratitude on a daily basis, and you're going over your wins and your lessons learned, it's just really an amazing tool, because if my mind can go negative real fast. Because I push myself. I have such high standards for myself. So even if I meet a goal, I think we've talked about this before, if I achieve a goal, I'm immediately, I might celebrate it for 15 minutes. And then I'm like, okay, well, I need to be better. Why am I not this good?
Right.
And I think it's one of my best traits and one of my absolute worst traits, because it is a double-edged sword. It can be it can push me to achieve more, but it can also make me feel terrible in an instant for not having achieved more. And so this kind of combats that, because I'm like, it makes me reflect and that have that gratitude and think about how things are going well, and be thankful for all this stuff. And so it's helped my mental state on a daily basis a ton. So
that's awesome. I wrote it down. I'm definitely going to get one, because it sounds like it's a really, really helpful tool.
Yeah, it's so I went super practical on like actually something you could buy and start using. But I like practical. Oh, go for it.
Hey, you can always. I've said this before on the show. This guy sounds like trying to reclaim life back. You can always go reach out to a counselor, because those people are meant to be able to help you kind of shape the direction that you want to go in your life, and then kind of help you get there. So, just a little heads up.
That's practical too. All right. Here we go.
We got one more? Two more?
One more.
One more.
One more question. We kind of blew through those pretty fast, but we'll do one more.
Okay.
All right. So I've been an avid follower of your content on the multitude of forums that you share, based on the advice and encouragement of you and other podcasters like Joe DeSena, John Wellborn, Zach Evanesh. I've decided to quit being a consumer and start producing. I'm currently an 8th grade teacher and high school lacrosse coach, looking for advice and a way forward.
Thanks for helping build young minds. That's an admirable profession.
Yeah, and cool stuff. Basically, I look into, he said producing, so maybe starting his own podcast, or website or something. So just kind of advice on how to get started and where to go. So, you have anything on top of your head?
Now's the time. I mean, now that you've decided that's what you want to do, then you already made the first step. You've done the hardest part, is deciding that's what you want to do. And for me, I think go do it. I'm kind of in the exact same process. I'm starting. I'm working on my thing. I've started it for a while now. And so I know how you feel. It's scary. But since you've made the decision that this is what you're going to do, just try to meet the world kind of face to face, instead of letting it sweep you under. Like, decide, sit down and put out an action plan of how you're going to do this stuff. Sometimes helping by telling some others, that are close to you, like family or friends, what you plan to do, what you want to do, they'll help hold you accountable to those plans. So those are some kind of just small things off the top. What you got, my man?
I've got a ton, man.
Oh, good.
I could have. So I've been running into 3 Fitness 5 years. A lot of those years I was active duty military.
Right, yeah.
So I'm sure you've heard the quote, imperfect action is better than perfect inaction.
I think you've used it on me a couple of times.
Yeah, and that's... This is... Because I get this question a lot. I'm not going to lie. People want to start something or do something online, and I always try to get them started as fast as possible. I'm like, get something out there. Publish something. Do something. Because... have I rushed 1,000 articles not actually 1,000, but just a ton of articles and published them with a ton of typos and didn't fully love it and, wish that I would have made it a little bit better? Absolutely. Maybe every single one I've ever written has been in that category. And it's okay.
I don't know, your articles are pretty good, my man.
Well, I appreciate that, but that'll be how I feel about them. There's always something I could have improved it just a little bit more. I should have said this, but guess what? You can always say that later, Right. And so it's just getting going, getting in that discipline of doing. But from kind of that's the main thing is just, and you kind of said the same thing. It's just get started, do something. That's what I was interviewed about the Garage Gym Athlete book not long ago, and the guy was like, "What's one tip that you can give someone who wants to get started?" And I was like, that's it. Get started. Right. If you don't have any equipment, go in your garage and just do a couple of push-ups. we've talked about this on podcasts. Just do something to get it started. Start that habit. But this will kind of overlap with some of the stuff I talked about balance, but if you really want to do something like start a business or a side hustle or whatever you want to call it, you have to start with a commitment. And this is what I did. I have no idea why I did this, but when I started Into 3 Fitness, I committed to doing it for 3 years on day one. This is what I told my wife. I was like, I'm going to do it for 3 years no matter what, and we'll just see what happens. Like, if no one reads a single article and I don't make a single dollar for 3 years, I'm doing it for 3 years, and then we'll just shut it down after that,
Right, yeah.
And so that was...
You want to give it a chance, it sounded like.
Yeah, but that's a ridiculously long commitment. Like, most people would say like 6 months or a year or year max,
Right.
So that's what I recommend is make this really long commitment and just keep going. And then the only other two questions I would have for somebody who wants to get serious about this is kind of, this does overlap with a balance question, but if you're going down this path, you're gonna have to live a different life than most, and that's what I was talking about. Like, I don't,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I don't, like, there were NFL games on today, and I couldn't tell you who played a single one of them. And I actually kind of like football, but
Yeah, you played football.
yeah, I'm just not. It's a different phase of life right now. So one question I have for people is, how much can you surgically remove from your life? Like, how much fat can you trim away that you don't need, where you can focus on this goal that you have to get started and put the time and effort into it? Because everyone has stuff in their life. I even have things in my life right now that I could, even though I feel like I've really cut a lot of the stuff out of my life that I don't feel like I need, I'm sure I could cut further. So how much can you cut out to make time for what your goal is? And then the other thing I would ask everyone is, how far are you willing to go? And I don't mean that in this like super deep, like it's going to be the hardest thing you ever did type. All I mean is, there are about 1.5 million things I had to learn for my business that I have no interest in. I'm not passionate about. I don't want to know about them. I got good at them because I had to. And that's things like marketing, HTML code, a lot of things that, that have to do with a website, all of this crap that I'm passionate about: fitness, training, programming people, helping people become better. Not all of the things that it takes to get my message out to the world,
Right.
As far as videos and audio and WordPress and all this other stuff. I'm not passionate about the technical side of any of that crap, but I had to learn it to do it. So that's what I mean by how far are you willing to go? How much are you willing to learn? And if there's a line somewhere, if you're ever like, yeah, well, I'm not really good with a microphone. It's like, then get good with a microphone. That's not the answer. The answer
Right.
is get good with a microphone, not some cop out. I can't do that because I don't want to. If you ever take a stance like that, then maybe it's not for you. But if you feel like you can go all the way, then do it. And that's my answer.
Dang, man, dropping knowledge bombs.
Knowledge bombs. Well, I'm passionate about that one. But I think that does it. That wraps it up.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
thanks guys for listening.
And don't forget, we got the barbell giveaway going on. So leave those reviews and those positive comments, and head over to betterhumanology.com. Sign up for those first 3 days of the 21-day Better Human Challenge. And that's it for this week.
Peace.
your best. Losers always whine about their best.